Good morning and welcome back to my channel. I am camping in the woods with my brother, and we just stepped out of a portal. So we were staying with our family for a couple days, and yeah, now we're back in the flow, even though that was part of the flow. And last night in the tent, when I was falling asleep, I was just like so happy to be in nature again. And the top of our tent is all open. It's just screen, so I could see the whole sky, and we were in this little clearing, and we were surrounded by all these pine trees. And I love pine trees. Pine trees are my favorite. Just the energy of them is just like they're so good. And I'm looking up at the stars, and the sky is just loaded full of stars, and we're surrounded by pine trees, and the night's clear, and there's fireflies lighting up the sky everywhere. And I normally listen to like frequencies or like mantras or affirmations or something right before falling asleep, but I was just so grateful to be hearing the river, and the river on top of it. The river's like flowing right behind our tent. So I'm hearing the river, and I'm seeing the fireflies and feeling the wind blow through the tent. And I'm just in bliss, like just in so much bliss, receiving, feeling the Divine Mother move through me, feeling everything that moment was giving me, everything that I was receiving in that moment. And as I'm experiencing this and feeling that energy of receiving, and how it was literally filling up my cup, filling up my vessel, and just expanding my heart was just overflowing with so much love for life, so much love for the experience, so much gratitude for being in nature, so much gratitude for the ever flowing, always flowing, abundant Divine Mother that is always pouring into us if our hearts are open. When our hearts are open, she is always pouring into us. She's always there with her offerings, trying to offer us unconditionally, always there waiting to pour into us. But our hearts have to be open to receive. And this is what the whole like transmission that I received last night, lying there, feeling this energy of receiving, and feeling feeling my being in ecstasy, receiving from her, feeling that bliss state again that I've been kind of like clicked out of over the last couple days. And just feeling myself return to my center, and feeling so wealthy within myself, like realizing that in that moment I had everything that I needed. There was not anything that I could think of that I needed in that moment. I was totally and completely fulfilled within myself. And I felt wealthy as fuck. I felt so wealthy and so abundant. I do feel so wealthy and so abundant. And realizing more and more that wealth does not come from outside of us. Wealth begins from inside of us. Wealth is a feeling. It's an energy. We can accumulate all the cars, the big houses, the fancy job, and all of the money, but that is not going to make you feel wealthy inside if you don't already feel wealthy inside. Yes, you can have wealth, you can have money and all of those things, and also feel wealthy inside. But if you don't feel wealthy inside and you're looking to feel wealthy, those external things are not going to make you feel wealthy if you don't feel wealthy inside. when we are searching for something to fulfill us, we'll search for it everywhere, but we're not going to find it until we can see what is right here, right now, in front of us all the time. The ache in our hearts when we're feeling unfulfilled, and the emptiness that we feel when we're feeling unfulfilled, is our connection to the mother, because our beings and our bodies remember that connection deep down. We know that's what we truly need. We know that's what we really want, and it's what we're all missing, craving. It's our connection to ourselves, to the truest, purest aspects of ourselves. And that is found through nature, through our connection to the Divine Mother, which is not just nature, it is everything. But nature helps us connect to it, nature helps us remember it, and our hearts have to be open. We have to open our hearts to be able to receive. If your heart is not open and it's kind of like having a closed hand. If someone is giving you a gift and you can't open up your hand to receive it, it doesn't mean that person is not still giving you the gift. The gift is right there waiting to be received. But your hand is closed and you can't open your hand to receive it. This is similar to receiving the Divine Mother, to receiving Source, the literally Creator. This receiving happens from opening our hearts. When you open your hearts, you are always receiving. You are never not receiving. You're always receiving. And this is how you shift into that abundant and wealthy mindset. And not even just mindset, it's how you shift into that knowing. It's how you shift into the frequency of wealth and abundance. It's how you become it. When you can feel that your cup is always being poured into every single day, every single moment of every single day, and you can feel that, and you can feel the gratitude and the joy and the love for the abundance that is always pouring into you. I can feel abundant, and I can feel the wealth, and I can feel how much I am being poured into just by hearing the wind rustling through the trees, by lying against the earth, falling asleep underneath the stars, and listening to the water, when my heart is overflowing with fulfillment, with gratitude for that, because I am open to the world around me. I am open to life. I am open to the Divine Mother. I'm open to myself. I am open to receive. And the funny thing about receiving, or it's not funny, but the thing about receiving, that over the last months and more, it's just getting clearer and clearer, but like the knowing, not clearer and clearer, the knowing has been there for a while, but the embodiment is getting more integrated, because sometimes we know things on a logical level, but it takes some time to integrate it into our bodies, into our knowing. And then once it's integrated into our body and into our knowing, then the next step is usually is embodiment, when we become it, when our energy literally just integrates it, and that is just who we are. And that is where I feel like I'm becoming more and more embodied in that frequency of abundance, of wealth. Not because of my bank account, not because of any other reason, because I'm living in between my car and a tent and floating wherever the wind blows me, and trusting where I'm led in every single moment, every single day. And to the outside world, or to most people, I am not abundant or wealthy, but that is not what defines, that is not my version. What most people's version of abundance and wealth is not abundance and wealth to me. I've had those abundance, I've had that wealth. I had the fancy job, I had the fancy car, I had the house, I had the money. And I gave it all up to find true wealth. And I'm building this wealth within myself. I'm building that foundation within myself. And eventually the external reality matches the internal. And we just have to trust that process. what I've been seeing in the external reality as I'm knowing and embodying the power of receiving, because when we are in receiving, we are giving. I can feel, as I was lying there last night, and I am feeling like, literally, I feel like my cup is being poured into and it's overflowing. That is how much I'm receiving, just sleeping under the stars and having that whole experience. And as I'm receiving this love that I'm feeling and gratitude I'm feeling for it all, is the giving back to the Divine Mother, to Creator, to God, whatever you want to call it. I call it the Divine Mother, God, Goddess, whatever you want to call it. When you are in gratitude and you're like, wait, the moment you are receiving, you are giving. You are giving by receiving. The giver is the receiver, and the receiver is the giving. There is no way that you can give and you don't receive, and there's no way that you can receive and you're not giving. If you are doing it with an open heart, if you are giving something to someone, for example, and you have an agenda because you want something from them, or if there's conditions attached to it of some way, and you want them to owe you something, or you want them to feel bad, or you want them to or you want to feel good about it. If you're just giving because you want to feel good, you just want to make yourself feel good, but by giving something to someone, there is strings attached to it, there's an agenda attached to it, and it's not unconditional. In that way, when there's conditions and agendas to our giving and our receiving, then no, it's not that same energy. When you give from an open heart with no conditions, no agenda, you just want to give for the sake of giving unconditionally, the way we are taught, the way that we are shown and modeled by nature, by the Divine Mother, that is always forever giving to us purely, unconditionally, never ending, a constant flow of pouring into us at all times. Whether we can receive it or not, it's there, it's available. That is unconditional giving. And when we are being given to from that unconditional place, and we can receive it from that unconditional place too, because there's no conditions, there's no agendas. And I can feel when someone is giving something to me with conditions and agendas, and when I receive it, it doesn't feel good because there's conditions and agendas, that I'd actually rather not receive it at all than receive something with conditions and agendas and stories attached to it. That's not giving. That's not true, real giving. There's strings attached to it, so it doesn't feel good, and it doesn't feel abundant because that person is not giving from an abundant place. If they were giving from an abundant place, and then you would receive it from that abundant place, and then you receiving it from that abundant place, your receiving of it would send back that energy of that overflowed energy, that overflow energy of receiving would flow back to them. And because we are connected, and how it works is because we are connected to everything and everyone, you are me and I am you. If you give me something, you pour into me in some sort of way from an unconditional place of love, of just loving me and so much that you just want to give me something. You just feel called to give me something. And I receive it from that place because I receive it from the place that you give it. That's how it works. We receive it from the place that person gives it. We can't receive something unconditionally if someone gives it to us conditionally. So if you gave me something unconditionally, you were pouring into me unconditionally, and I was receiving it from that place because my heart is open and I'm feeling it and I'm receiving it from that place, and it's just flowing my heart with love, and I'm so grateful. That energy that you just poured into me, and now I'm expanding upon it because I'm experiencing the other side of that. I am also you, so you are also now receiving the other side of that. You are receiving the receiver. You're receiving that experience of the receiver through the receiver, if that makes sense, because you are also them. So when you're pouring into someone else, you really are pouring into yourself. So how are you pouring into other people? Are there agendas attached to it, or stories attached to it, or Are you keeping score? Any of that? If there is any of that, you are doing not only them a disservice, you are doing yourself a disservice, because that is you. If it was you standing in front of you, how would you give to yourself? How would you pour into yourself? And that shows you, or that may give you an idea or a clarity around how you should be giving. Because when we are giving from that place, you're filling your own cup. When you fill other cups around you, you are filling your own cup. When you fill your own cup, you're also filling their cup. But you have to do it from unconditional, from unconditional love. Like the mother, like the trees, they're just always giving. They're giving us shade right now. They're giving me shade right now. They're giving me their grounding energy always, and everything else that we receive from trees, their oxygen, all the magic we receive from trees, it's always happening. It's just happening. The birds, they don't choose who to sing for. They're always singing. And whoever is willing and open to receive will receive. The cicadas, the bugs in the trees, everything, all of nature is always giving. The fruit trees don't stop giving us fruit when our hearts aren't open and we can't see the fruit in the tree and aren't willing to open our eyes. They're always giving endlessly. Endlessly during their season, obviously. But nature shows us what it means to be unconditional and the power of that unconditional love. The trees drop their leaves and give back to the earth. And that creates homes for the squirrels, and so many different creatures receive just from the leaves giving up their leaves. And they don't hold on to it and wonder if, oh, I'm gonna drop my last leaf, I'll never have enough. What if I don't have enough? What if my leaves never come back? No, they trust, they let go, and they trust, and they go through the seasons and the cycles and the flow. Money is the same as well. Money wants to flow. It's the energy of water. When you give without conditions and you give from this place of abundance, even if it's your last dollar in your bank account, when you give from a place of unconditional love and of abundance, from feeling abundant within yourself, and you are anchored into that abundant and that wealth energy within yourself, and you are giving from that place, it comes back. It just moves. When we hold on to money, when we hold on to it because we're afraid of letting it go, we're afraid if more will come in, we are creating dams in the flow of the water. We are creating blocks. So pour. What areas what can you pour into? In what ways can you pour into yourself, the people around you, into projects, into creative projects, into whatever? Like, what can you pour into that is going to pour back into you? How can you pour unconditionally? Literally, unconditionally is the key. There is only lack when we create lack. There's only lack when we give from lack, when we're believing in lack, when we're holding on to lack. But lack only exists when we let it. Becoming abundant within yourself, to me, becoming wealthy within yourself, to me, is opening your heart. This process of letting go of everything I owned, literally, except for what fits in a suitcase. This has taught me what true wealth is. This has taught me how to embody true wealth, true abundance, and to really understand what I truly value in life and the true values of life. And that's not cars and a house and money. Yes, we need money to survive, to eat, whatever. But I don't chase money. I open to life, and I don't chase anything really, but I invite in experiences. I invite things that expand me, that open my heart more and more and more, that teach me, that help me grow. And the thing I value the most over anything now in my life is nature. I value nature and human connection. Connections with people I love, to learn from them, to grow from them, because without the other mirrors in front of us, we don't really grow. We don't really learn because there's no mirror in front of us. We can expand so much faster when we have mirrors in front of us. When we have people that are reflecting back to us all the wounded parts of ourselves, but also reflecting the beauty within us. It's like living in a house without a mirror. You don't really see how beautiful you are if there's no mirror. And I value human connections because they challenge me to grow. They challenge me to be the best version of myself. They challenge me. They challenge me to see myself, to love myself. All of it. And it's also where I'm receiving, even if I'm being taught an uncomfortable lesson through a connection with someone, I am receiving in that. I'm receiving information, I'm receiving growth, I'm receiving. And through my receiving, they're also receiving. Through my growth, they're also growing, because we're all one soul. So you see, you are always receiving. It's always around you. If you start to notice, make it a practice to notice, how am I receiving today? And start to note in your mind or write it down, all the ways that you are always receiving. You're receiving when you're eating, you're receiving. You're receiving when you're drinking water. You're always receiving. You're receiving when you're breathing. Literally, breathing is the act of receiving. I'm receiving, I'm giving. I'm receiving, I'm giving. It literally is nature. To give and receive. When we give, we receive. When we give, we receive. We can't give and hold it in and not receive. We would die. We can't give. We can't receive and not give. We would, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It is an ebb and a flow, like waves washing up on the shore. She gives and she receives. She gives and she receives. This is our natural state of being. You are always giving and you are always receiving. And when you start to embody that, you step out of the energy of lack. You step out of that energy and you step into the truth of who you are, which is abundant. You are already abundant. You are already wealthy inside. You just have to remember that and walk in that and embody that. As you do more and more, you will melt away the programming, the conditioning, the stories of lack, the stories of everything within you that tells you that you're not abundant, everything within you that makes you want to hold on to in fear of not receiving again, fear of not having enough. This last 2 years has taught me a lot about that, because after quitting my job, I was doing energy healing for a period of time. Me and my brother were doing sound baths and we held some ceremonies. But then we were guided to stop everything, to allow old aspects of us to die and fall away. So the last 2 years, it's been a lot of doing nothing to the external eye, but everything within us was shifting. Everything within us was dying, going through its death and rebirth cycles over and over and over again over the last 2 years. And it's been scary when it comes to finances, because there's been no constant, no guarantee, no stability in knowing where our next meal was going to come from, knowing where I was going to go next, because I've just been floating around. And, I was in a couple different countries. We were in Costa Rica. He went to Guatemala for a few months and was traveling through the States. But it's just magically, when we're meant to go somewhere else, the money comes in. When I'm on my last meal and I'm spending my last $5-10 on something, money comes in. When I roll up my sleeping bag and I don't know where I'm going that day, but I just pack up everything anyways, something unfolds and something comes in. To live in that level of trust, knowing that we're always guided, we're always supported, and to surrender a little bit. You don't always need to know the way. You don't always need to know where the next dollar is coming from, where you're going to receive from next. Just stay in the energy of receiving. I'm receiving always. I'm always receiving. I'm receiving abundantly all the time. And stay in that energy as much as you can. I think that is it for me today, because I want to finish the rest of my walk in a constant state of to just receive this walk and receive all the beautiful trees and the nature around me. Much love.